All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over, as mentioned, some more examples of strings using our textbook, JavaScript 6th edition by Sasha Vodnik and Don Gosselin, but I've been using the article https://javascript.info/string, and I'm about halfway through it. All right. There's starts with and ends with. So I've got widget with ID. Does that include? Includes widget. Yes, it does. So that returns true. We've got hello. Does it include by? It doesn't, so that should return false. Let's double check these and make sure that indeed they do return true and they do return false. And we'll even try one more. All right. Let's grab this one. And we're going to put it in there twice. Now, why? You'll see. Does this include widget? Yes, it does. Does this include by? No, it doesn't. Does this include LLO? That should say true. All right. Does it include LLOW, like yellow would have? That should return false. Let's see if indeed the ones I put in here now are correct. So again, we should get true, false, true, false. True, false, true, false. Okay, just again, some examples of string manipulation. You can also get the starting position. All right, another way that you can get, or ways that you can get substrings. A substring, again, is a string within a string. So you can use slice. Let's look at this one. All right, so we've got a string here that says stringify. And we're supposed to start with position 0, and we're supposed to go 5 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, go 5 positions. So we should get string as opposed to string. If we say go start with 0 and go 1 position, we should get what? We should get just the S. And finally, if we say 0 with 6, now we should get the whole word string. So let's put, for our alerts here, we'll say slice 0, 5. Plus this really and truly is some unbelievably powerful stuff. All right. Okay. Let's run it again. So 0 to 5, again, like I said in the book, strn. 0 to 1, just the S. 0 to 6, now we get the whole word string. All right. We're making progress here. We're getting close to the end, I guess. If there's no second argument, it goes all the way to the end of the string. So this would start with character 2. Remember, that is character 0. That is character 1. So it says start with 2. That should give us ringify. Not a problem. You can do negative values. So you start from the end. So this says, okay, start from the end. And it's the 4th position from the right. Now, 0, 1, 2, 3. Well, that doesn't work. That's because when you start counting backwards, you start with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also use the substring function, and these again work very much the same way. Let's just see if we get ring on both of these. All right, and we get ring on this one, but on this one with slice, we get an empty string. So let's see if we get ring, 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 empty string. Ring, 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 empty string. Okay? Now, the takeaway from this, is the fact that there are multiple ways of doing the same thing. Now, one thing I had shown you before, and I'm going to bring that back up again. It's going to take a second. I apologize. All right, but if I come in here, okay. That's what I want. I should have taken this and bookmarked it, but I don't think I did. Earlier, I had talked to you about that Hunlock tutorial, which you may or may not remember, but it was here. All right. And remember, they have both an array tutorial, which goes through all of the major array functions. There you go. And in much more depth and breadth of coverage than I did. Plus, they also have a tutorial for strings. So if you want more than I'm giving you, notice there are some methods in here we're not talking about. But if I, like, say I wanted to know more about index of, I can click there and it'll show me an example. Now, to my knowledge, all of these examples work. I'm not going to sit there and try any of them for you right now, but they should all work. All right. Okay. So here's some more stuff on there. And the author says, which of them do you choose? No, I'm not even going, the author says that they end up using slice most of the time, but the bottom line is use all of them until you develop a comfort level. And then if one seems more intuitive than the other, I'd use that one, but I'd use it all the time. You're not impressing people, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, if there's 5 ways of doing something, showing somebody all 5 ways. I'd rather have somebody do something, if there's 5 ways, for example, for somebody to paint my house, and that's not going to really impress me if they say, hey, I took twice as long to paint your house, but look, I painted this one using a spray painter, I painted this one using a brush going up and down, I painted this one using a brush going down and up, and it all looks the same. I'm going to say, hey, find the way that you can paint it that looks the best and is the fastest, paint it. All right, that kind of an idea. All right. When you compare strings, one thing to realize. We'll use that. Okay, it still uses ASCII comparisons. And you go, wait a minute, we're not using ASCII anymore, we're using Unicode. Yeah, but the first 256 characters of the Unicode character set are the ASCII character set. So, if that confused you, what I'm saying in English is this. as they mentioned in the book, notice here's a uppercase m, and it's got a value of 77. Here's a lowercase m, and it's got a value of 155. So a lowercase n, the lowercase m, like Michael, has got a greater ASCII value than an uppercase m. All right, and that's what they're saying here. So this will be true. Letters with diacritical marks are out of order. Well, that's because you've got the little thing above the O, and that's, they just say you can get to some weird stuff. All strings are encoded using a universal transformation format 16-bit. So each character has a corresponding numeric code. So you can find out those codes if you're so inclined. I'm not going to do that right now. All right. So it says the right algorithm to do string comparisons is more complex than it may seem because alphabets are different for different languages. So the same looking letter may be located differently in different alphabets. Now, unless you're doing stuff where you're actually working with different languages or what are typically referred to as different locales, L-O-C-A-L-E, you don't have to worry about it. All right. They go into surrogate pairs here. I'm not going to, they're showing here how you can print out different symbols. We kind of looked at that before. I'm not going to go into the diacritical marks anymore. So let's just go to the summary. After we do, again, there are a bunch of exercises that you can run if you're so interested or if you're so inclined. All right, I am working today on Friday, the 12th of May, 2017, which is actually an off day for us, but I want to take off Friday, the 19th of May, so I'm working today to make up for that day. All right, so going over our summary. Again, there are three types of quotes: single quotes, double quotes, and backticks. Single quotes and double quotes in JavaScript work the same way, but when you start with a single quote, you must end with a single quote. When you start with a double quote, you must end with a double quote. Backticks allow you to put stuff over multiple lines. You saw that already. Strings, as we just found out in JavaScript, are encoded using a UTF 16-bit format. Things like \n, \t are called escape characters. If you want to get a single character, you can treat your string like it's an array and just grab, if you want the first character, that would be character 0. We looked at slice and substring a little bit. We looked at a couple of examples with 2 lowercase and 2 uppercase. We looked at different ways to search for a string within a string. And as it says, there are several other methods, and these are kind of neat. So let's take a look at these. All right, we're just about finished here. So I'm going to put this in here. And I'm going to say var, str, equals blank, 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 hello, blank, world, blank, 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 blank. Okay? All right. Now, I'm going to say alert str.trim. And what that should do is it should change it and just print out this, and it should remove all leading and trailing blanks. All right? So, and then afterwards, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say alert str.repeat, and we'll put in here 6. And we're going to see if indeed that repeats my string 6 times. All right? So let's try it. Now, when it repeats it, it's going to have those blanks. I don't know if we can say dot trim, dot repeat, but we're going to try that to see if it works, okay? So we'll put a message here that says trim only, and this will say trim plus repeat. And again, this may or may not work. I'm not really concerned about it one way or the other, but let's take a quick look. Doesn't like something. Missing a paren in line 291. That would be here. I think that's the error, but let's find out. So there's trim only, hello world. Notice it only does the leading and the trailing blanks. It doesn't do any embedded blanks between the two. And then we've got it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. All right. Okay. That's pretty much it. It says you can see the manual for details. And notice here's the string manual. So if you don't like what I've given you, and again, going back here, and I removed it unfortunately, but I'll put it back in just a second. This is the Mozilla reference for strings. If I change that from string to array, you, of course, would key this in over one line as opposed to two like I did it. There's the array reference. And there are many methods in here that we did not discuss. So I want to put that up there one more time in case you have an interest. Let me cut this size in half. Makes it a little easier to see. I guess we can make it a little bigger than that. All right. So if you're interested in finding more out about arrays, you can go here. If you're interested in finding out more about strings, you can go here. And again, I would strongly recommend that you take the time to go back to this article and go through the exercises at the end. The only way that you can become more expert in this is practice, practice, practice. So I've now gone over arrays and I've gone over strings. Okay? So what that means is, and of course I close that too. Oh my goodness. There we go. In here, well, and I don't know what happened, but we are now through here. Now, I did not go over Chapter 7 as, I did not go over examples. I'm not doing the object-oriented JavaScript. I did go over those the PowerPoints for this. But I've now gone over these 6 chapters and this chapter. I'm also not going over these chapters with examples. But I'm going to come back to our miles per gallon and go through 1, probably 2, I haven't written them yet, jQuery examples. And I'm going to do those, and that will finish up the JavaScript portion of this part of the class. So I'll be back with that, hopefully, shortly.